What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. And today we're going to be answering a comment that I got regarding Guild Boss. So let's dive right in. And welcome back. So I got a comment on a video in the last few weeks asking about Eloin in Guild Boss. Now, I've already done a video on my Guild Boss, specifically talking about using Eloin in my Guild Boss, but I figure, it's time that we've maybe updated our Nightmare 4 run and see what we can do with a little bit of pushing. We have added in some extra gear, some new things. For example, we got a golden scarab for our Dolores, which, although is a small attack decrease, it is a pretty large rage regen increase, which is pretty helpful. We've also since pulled a Torador, which means we get the really awesome Lord skill for our Valeria, so she actually deals some extra damage. And we've also just gotten a little bit better gear overall. Now, I've already come in here and I've already done all of these things. So we're going to go ahead and go into the playtest mode and see what happens, right? Because we can save the auto fights if we get something that we are satisfied with. So first things first, guys, something to keep in mind is I am using invigoration sets. You may see less damage if you're not using invigoration sets. That's just something you need to keep in mind when you're doing this. It also may affect your particular placements. You don't have to place things in the particular order that I'm placing them, but just keep that in mind as you're doing things. So the first thing that I do is I want to get my DPS down. Particularly, I want to get Cetrum down because he is the slowest to build his ultimate so that I can get the timing set up properly. So we're going to quickly place our Cetrum down. Then I'm going to place my Valeria, followed by this gal right here. Then I'm going to place Torador down. And the reason I do this is because he's wearing Invigoration and he will buff my Zilla 2 right away, which is really, really helpful. Then we're going to come in and we're going to place my Hollow. Now I'm placing my Hollow like this because I don't want her to be healing Valeria so that she can get to low HP. Then we're going to come in and place our Hex. Then we're going to come in and place our Dolores. Then we're going to place our Laurel, and then we're going to place our Pyros. Now that we've done that, we're going to go through and basically just wait until we get everything up and ready to rock. We're going to go ahead and pop our ultimate here. We're going to pop, 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 and then we're going to quickly remove and place Eloin over here on the side. Now, the reason that I'm placing Eloin over here on the side is because I want my Hollow to heal for Rage, but I want my Eloin on the field in order to give me additional Rage regen on the boss, right? So ultimately, that's kind of the goal, is to get the Rage regen on the boss so that we're able to get a ton of damage that way, right? So here we go. Now, this is obviously not super optimal. I'm not like the best with my placements. We're going to do this. We're going to place this, pop Hollow, remove Laurel, place down Torador. All right. Pop, 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 pop. And there's that. We're pretty much just popping everything on cooldown except for Valeria, and that is primarily because we don't want her to die, right? We don't want her to die because that would make things very unfortunate for us overall. So here we're going to remove, we're going to place, we're going to build up our ultimates here, pop this one, pop this one, pop this one, pop this one, keeping Laurel on the field to get the damage boost. Then we remove and we place our Eloin back down. Remember that Laurel has that damage boost when someone ultimates while she's on the field, which means we gain a lot of very good things just from her being there, right? Right, place this, and we're going to ultimate. Here we blew it up. Perfect. We're going to keep going here. We're going to remove. We're going to place. We're going to remove immediately, place, and then pop our stuff here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pop everything else just to get that last little bit of damage. All right, let's see what we got. I wasn't even paying attention to blood. It felt like it was about 36, 37k. Look at that, almost 38k. So this is actually my highest score. Let's look at the damage meters. Look at our girl Zilla2, man. Look at her go. She is doing insane damage numbers. This is actually my first time ever hitting 100 million on Nightmare 4. I've hit 100 million on Nightmare 3, but never on 4. You'll also see Hex is up there at 84, almost 85 million, which is really awesome. My Valeria is still lacking a little bit, 44 million. Feels okay, not the greatest. And then Pyros, Torador, the rest of these guys, you know, they're just here for support and buffing up the damage. But this looks really, really nice having Zilla2 and Hex up here at that high thing. I am going to actually... it automatically uploaded it because it was my highest. So there we go. So let's complete that and let's run it on auto and let's see if we can actually continue that score. The thing I liked about my previous auto was that it was able to do this every time, no matter what, without any real issues. In order to get, you know, that over 25k per key so I can get the 50k chest. We'll see if this one continues to work. The previous one that I did also had a pretty low, or a pretty close, rather, third shield. As you saw there, we got it like just at the very end of it. But it actually ends up working out. You get more blood that way, at least from the testing that I personally have done. It tends to work out a little bit better in those situations. One of the things I think is really, really important to note about this, and I'll go over all of my gear after this, so don't worry too much about that. But I have gotten my hands on quite a few spirit siphons in the last few weeks, quite a few really good artifacts just in general. And spirit siphons is one of the ones that I've gotten. So I almost have a maxed spirit siphon on my, oh, there we go. On my Hex. I had to watch that real quick because I didn't want to lose the fight here. But because I have that almost maxed out spirit siphon, he's doing a lot more damage. I definitely think that we can get even more damage out of this team with just a few more tweaks, a couple little bits of extra, you know, oomph added in there. But this does look like it's pretty consistent. So this was not quite to that 38k. This was about 36k, but that's still not too shabby. We're going to run our second key just so that you can see it, because again, I want to get that 50k chest, and I want to see how reliable it is, right? If I'm going to guarantee, like, if there's any way that this could fail, I want to be able to see that. I want to be able to watch so that I can get like a feel for, you know, how the team runs on auto, because again, this is not something I want to manual every single day if I don't have to. I have also thought about trying to find a Leia, for example, and putting Leia on my team in order to get that extra rage regen. But I'm just not sure how to do that. And again, going for just the 50k blood for the Demon Captain Ma wouldn't be an issue, right? But I would like to be able to have it consistent, preferably all on my own. And I think a couple things could change that, right? Getting some more of the Wailing Skulls, or the COVs as they previously were known. Getting, you know, a couple more Spirit Siphons. I think I need one more to max out my Hex's Spirit Siphon. That would be really good. Also, getting a better artifact or more of the Flux Pendant for Valeria would probably help as well, because right now I'm just using that level 1 Flux Pendant, which is not bad, but it's nothing crazy. And then, of course, you have the obvious things like picking up a Twin Fiend or a Soul Cadence or something along those lines, just to kind of give us that last little oomph as well. But ultimately, I feel like we've made some good progress here. This was, again, a little bit under, right around 35K. But there's, of course, that little bit of RNG with whether or not you get the procs on Dolores, right? But yeah, look at that. Still close to 100 million. That just feels so good just to see that number pop up. But yeah, so let's go take a look at the gear, because I know you guys are going to want to see all of the gear. So this is my Cetrum. He is a 1, just something to keep in mind. I currently have him in an Ageless Wrath and a Warlord set. I'm just going to flip through these real quick. You guys can pause and take a look at the stats as you go. I have some pretty well rolled gear. Very, very interesting for sure that it rolled as well as it did. I have a ton of gold stats, right? I think this has, is it just 2? It's just 2 stats, but a ton of like triple purples or double purples and a gold, right? Very good pieces. I'm not going to lie. You'll see here we're sitting at 88.5% crit rate. This isn't a problem because of his passive, right? He builds up this crit very quickly. We only have to hit 12 times, only need to get 12 stacks in order to proc it, which he gets very quickly with a whopping 536 attack speed. So it's not too bad. I mean, we're looking at a 1.7 attack interval. And of course, once he pops that ultimate, which is when he's really going to be pumping out damage, I mean, he hits 12 attacks in seconds, right? Probably in under 3, I would assume, but I don't know exactly the numbers. Then we have a pretty nice plus 212% crit damage and 9,400 attack. We are running him in crit damage, attack speed, attack. The reason we're doing this is because of his ultimate. His ultimate here, Overloaded. When he reaches the attack speed cap, he goes into Overloaded, which gives a 70% damage boost. So the faster he gets up to the attack speed cap, the more damage he's going to do in Overloaded. So sacrificing a little bit of crit damage or attack for an attack speed necklace would be very, very, very good. Had to cough there, sorry. Also, this just rolled really well, right? I mean, this is a perfectly statted piece of gear with 2 purple rolls, a gold roll, and then, I mean, I wish the attack bonus was higher, but I really can't complain. This is a beautiful piece of gear. I don't think I would ever change it for the world. I love it. It's amazing. It will never leave my Cetrum. Anyways, and then of course on him we do have his mythic artifact. I do think that there is a lot of potential for changing the mythic artifact. You could use a spirit siphon. Oh, I actually did get the last spirit siphon for Hex. Look at that. You could use a spirit siphon. It will deal more damage ultimately. But that's not the goal of Cetrum, right? The goal of Cetrum is to break those shields, especially if you have him at A1. When he's in his ultimate, he gives the 30% damage boost to the 2 highest attack allies, which are going to be Zillatu and Hex. And so because of that, they are going to deal a ton of damage to the shields, which is why we're breaking those shields pretty quickly when his ultimate is up. Then we can move on to our boy Hex. Again, we do have him A1 as well. This is the gear we have him on. We have him in a Soulbound Arcana set. I think this is a really good set for him because we're using a Rage Regen build. There is a lot of room for improvement, I think, on the gear. Like, for example, this is a good piece with double purple stats, but we only have defense and defense bonus for these last 2 stats. There's a lot of potential in this piece of gear for sure. There could also be potential in like getting a crit damage set on him, right? Like potentially throwing this piece on and throwing this piece on could potentially be better, but this is just the set that I currently have him in. I think it works really well. He is rocking crit damage, attack, and crit damage with a 200% crit damage almost. He has a decent attack speed at 297, but ultimately our goal is just to get him an ultimate and have him deal a ton of damage that way. So attack speed is good, but I don't think it's crazy. You need to be as high as Cetrum, for example. And then, of course, we do have him with a maxed out Spirit Siphon. Of course, it's not fully maxed. We could get a little bit more, but I have so many artifacts to promote right now that I can't be using to get the last 3 levels. So we're going to hold off on that. We come over here to Zillatu. She is using a Willing Skull at promotion 2. Would love to get a couple more of those, but ultimately it's pretty good. This is the set I have her in. I actually did just upgrade her stats a small amount with a new Infernal Roar piece that I picked up. It is, I think it's this piece right here, actually. Was it that piece? No, it was this piece right here that rolled pretty well. And I think this piece rolled pretty well as well, right on the edge of purple. Like, this is practically a 4 purple roll, right? Like, 2 more rage regen and like 9 attack, right? Very, very much almost a full purple stat there. Definitely not bad. I could sacrifice a little bit of crit damage, or sorry, crit rate somewhere for some other stats. You know, I don't know where I would do it because most of this gear is pretty good, right? Potentially like here, maybe. I don't know though. But ultimately, I think it's a very good build. She does a ton of damage, as you saw. Then we have our Valeria, who is also in Infernal Roar and Warlord. Her gear is definitely secondary, right? She is not wearing the best gear because she is our secondary DPS. She has good gear on. I think that her gear is still pretty good, but like this piece, for example, is not that great. But I just don't have anything that's better that allows me to hit those numbers, right? Like this, I would lose crit rate, which, you know, actually, it might actually be worth it, right? It's only, yeah, it's a couple crit rate. That's probably a better piece. We'll keep it like this because this is actually probably better, and we'll see what her damage looks like in another attempt later on, because obviously I just did my attempts. But ultimately, I think she's built pretty well. Almost 12k attack, 173 crit damage now, which is pretty good. She was in attack before, so yeah, she was in attack before, so that's really good in my opinion. I think that's great. And then for the artifact, we're using a Flux Pendant. Now, there is, of course, some thoughts about maybe using something else. I had thought about potentially using Flawless Blade. I've heard that this actually works relatively okay in the Guild Boss. But ultimately, I think that Flux Pendant just fits so well for her because we get the 24% crit damage, which is just really nice, especially since she has relatively low crit damage overall. And then we have our supports, right? So Eloin is just built for rage, attack speed. Nothing crazy there. I'm not going to go through all of the gear because you guys know how to build these people at this point. Where are my other peoples? Pyros, he is built for rage regen, attack speed, right? He deals a little bit of damage with his crit rate, crit damage, but not a ton. He's mainly there just to get the rage regen and attack speed and get those ultimates off. Then we have our Hollow. Hollow is built for healing, right? We just want her to heal. I definitely think that there is some potential for me to swap this around to a lower attack build. The reason she's like this is because I wanted to get her an Invigoration set so that she could buff up the rest of my team, right? I want my whole team to have the attack buff because I think that that's very much worth it. I do think that there is some potential for more rage to be pumped out from Hollow. However, I feel like the timings work out pretty well most of the time. So I don't think it's anything super, super crazy. And then we can go down to Dolores. Here's our Dolores. So our Dolores is, again, in that Invigoration and attack set. Pretty decent attack builds, in my opinion. We got this 23% here. This huge 582 flat attack here. 441 flat attack. 416 flat attack. 315 flat attack. I would like to see a little more rage regen on her. I think that would make it a little bit better. But since we have the new Golden Scarab, it's helped quite a bit having this rage regen. I think it's very good overall for her. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess we have Torador. He's just in a... Yeah, it's just in that. Nothing crazy. He's only really there on the field for a little bit. I could theoretically go and upgrade some of these to like be damage dealing. But he's only on the field for a brief period of time. I don't think it's super crazy. And then I guess I should show Laurel too. She's just Invigoration. Nothing crazy here. Just artifact. Random mythic artifact for stats so she doesn't just die right away. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me know in the comment section down below if you have any tips or tricks for me to maybe improve my run. It's definitely possible that I could make a better team. This is just the team that I've been working with. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. I have thought about trying Vladov, by the way, and it does less damage for me. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. If I am, you think I might be, let me know in the comment section down below how you're doing it. And I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.